I'm an unstable soul, that's for sure. I'm double-minded, that's for sure. I try to um, not go too far as a reprobate, but there are times when I, you know, you have good intention, you want to make a project in the future to do the right thing, and then the next day you wake up and you're thinking, I cannot do this. I cannot do this sacrifice. I cannot do this effort. So every word that I say, I regret. And I really am worried, and it does affect me to know that what I put on the YouTube, I cannot just go away and do like nothing ever happened, because other people trusted in me and they are being affected by it if I'm doing the wrong. So whenever I'm doing wrong, all the people that said out loud that they trust me, or that they trust that there is the Holy Spirit in me, then it's hurting them, and it's hurting their credibility too, and it's hurting their testimony. So it's like a type of betrayal in the body of Christ when I'm doing wrong. And it's so hard to get one person to go in harmony, unison with the message from God, that when there is a wrong made, then it's discrediting a lot the overall. So I'm thinking about that, and I'm worried about my own sanity, and it's so extremely difficult to just trying to make plans for the future, to rearrange my life, and temptation is everywhere. You never know. You cannot prepare for what you don't know what is going to happen. You cannot prepare for what you don't know what is going to happen. And when I was younger, I was diagnosed extreme and very severe anxiety. Marianne, my cousin, with whom I felt so strongly when I was with her, visiting her at her apartment. I knew that I was sent by God for a mission with her. But with the mission, I had to deal with my feelings toward her. I so strongly felt that she would be the only woman that I could be with that would accept me despite all my infirmities. I had to deal with my feelings toward her. I so strongly felt that she would be the only woman that I could be with that would accept me despite all my infirmities. I was convinced of that. I was feeling strongly about it. I was thinking, I'm so different than the average, and I'm having so much difficulty overall in life, and I don't know why. But I felt strongly that if there would be one woman that I could live with, that I could have a relation with her. I mean, a full relationship with her on every aspect. There would not be another woman that could bear with it. That could accept me. I know she.
Okay, I'm going to stop here for a second and I'm just going to say something. Jonathan, I don't believe that, you're an unstable soul. I believe that we're all healing and we're healing. This is what this is all about. Reconciliation. I have some things here that you're going to see on this video that I think will help give a little bit more depth and understanding of what the surrounding is all about and what's been going on. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that Jonathan Nolan has, been very bold in what he does. He does not waver. He comes out very strong. He's answered every single question or accusation that came at him. I mean, he wouldn't wait for anybody to go just to his video or his channel to say something. He was going to their channel and he was engaging in that conversation. So no, Jonathan, you've been very straight. You haven't changed from the beginning since I've met you. You've matured, we've all matured since we've been here. I just want to read this and go on, but I just want to say that, when you guys ask me why am I still with, standing by Jonathan Nolan, and what I don't understand is, if it were you, okay, and you're waking up and you hear, help him, very strong, powerful, authoritative voice, okay, help him. And this was, maybe a year, a little less than a year, knowing Jonathan Nolan, I heard this. Jonathan was not easy on the ears. I had to watch his videos once or twice, maybe 3 times to get the message. But I worked towards it because I knew there was something about what he was saying and it was true. It was truth coming from him. He has not changed. Going outside and beyond the scriptures is through experience, talking about your walk with Jesus, sharing the testimony, letting people know what he has done in your life. Jonathan Nolan and his cousin are going through a healing process that needs to be done. What I saw was a shock and awe by bringing his cousin forward without any warning whatsoever. Nothing to Jonathan Nolan. But boom, there's his cousin. Shocked the monkey. And then everything just piled right on daily. And you call that just. And that's your foundation? Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen.
I told you about a story having to do with police chief of Sainte-Foy by name René Provencher. I don't know if with the story you can find out. Maybe the guy is not even alive anymore. I don't know. But I've been abused, and the way that I inflicted to myself, it was just like symbolism for to say I did not want to be touched, and I did the split, and I just broken parts of my inside to the point that I got the fibromyalgia. I believe this is where it came from. And I told you the story about that. I told you about police chief of Sainte-Foy, René Provencher, and I was victim of abuse, but then you asked me, why did I continue? Well, because he was following me. That's one thing. He was following me. He didn't seem to fear to be caught. He didn't seem to fear to be caught. He was even calling at my parents' place. And he was not afraid. And I've been witness also that he did with many other children, underage children. And I know it because I was there. But how it started, the whole story, how it started, is that my friend Miran Vidic, one of my close friends from my childhood, even though I was a little older than him, was my best friend at the time. And then one day, he told me, let's go sleep over this place. And then in the night, I woke up that I was being abused while I was sleeping. Does it ring a bell? Because when you invited me to sleep, you allowed me to sleep at your place a couple nights, and you were worried that I would rape you while you were asleep. But I didn't do it. But I was myself victim of it. And even when I was going to see a chiropractician, because I tried a lot of ways to try to heal from it, even though it was self-inflicted pain. My chiropractician, at some point, he asked me if I've been a victim of abuse, and I told him yes. And then he told me that it happens that the people that are victims of abuse, they themselves also become abusers. But that's a long time ago that I was seeing the chiropractician. That was before I saw you, because you were better than the chiropractician, because you healed me. So you asked me why I was continuing to see the man that was abusing me. And when it first happened, it was in my sleep. I didn't ask for it. I was trusting my best friend who brought me in a house, and he knew that this would happen. I knew afterward that he knew this would happen. So the thing about the law failed you, you said the law failed you. Well, I have a story about the law failed me, because the chef of police of Sainte-Foy raped me, abused me, and because there's many reasons why I was keeping at it, because you asked me why I was, and it's, okay, sorry, I contradicted myself here, because I said that why did you not ask me those questions back then, I would have answered back to you. And this question I did not answer back to you fully at the time, but now I do. it was my best friend that was keeping contact with the other guy. And for me to keep seeing my friend, I had to deal with this. Okay, I had no choice. The choice was either I was not seeing my friend anymore, or that I would still see my friend, but it would always end up that we would end up at his place. And this was the choice that was before me. So today, okay, from a long time ago, I decided, okay, it's not going to work out. But I'm being very honest with you. And if I would add another reason to it, is because I did not know myself what was love. And over there, I was seeing people manifesting love in a way that I did not see in my own house. Because, you know, my parents, my father, my own dad, okay, he never been taking me in his arms like I was seeing from my friend over his own family, taking him in his arms. And so that type of love I did not know about. But then it was also going with this other part of his life that was involving the guy, chef of police chief, that was, okay, I learned that the guy was providing money to the family of my friend, and that's what was allowing, you know, it was like it was a permission because the guy was giving money so he could rape his family. It's pretty much what was going on.
Extraordinary claims coming out of Canberra tonight, with a former Prime Minister allegedly on a list of suspected pedophiles. Liberal Senator Bill Heffernan, who is pushing for the Child Abuse Royal Commission to include the legal profession, told an explosive Senate hearing he has a police list of 28 prominent suspects.
There's a former Prime Minister on this list, and it is a police document.
And now I'd like to introduce to you Fiona Barnett, that's Barnett, who is one of the bravest people you will ever have the privilege to meet.
Throughout my childhood, I was a victim of Australia's VIP child sex trafficking ring. For example, I was prostituted to pedophile parties at Parliament House, Canberra, and to an international leader at Fairbairn Military Airport. The people involved in this elite pedophile ring included high-ranking politicians, police, and judiciary. From the late 1980s, I reported my abuse experiences to multiple healthcare professionals, not one of whom adhered to mandatory reporting requirements. I reported to New South Wales Police in 2008. I reported to the Royal Commission in 2012. I reported to Operation Attest in Canberra. I made formal witness statements to New South Wales Police and have agreed to do more. I've reported directly to the New South Wales and Federal Police Commissioners and to the New South Wales Coroner. I have provided sufficient names, times, dates and places for authorities to investigate. My experiences were horrific beyond words. I witnessed child abduction, torture, rape, murder. But the way I've been treated for reporting the crimes I witnessed and experienced has been far worse than my original abuse experiences. Victims endure the most miserable childhoods. We then spend the rest of our lives paying for the crimes committed against us. Victims are constantly placed under excessive scrutiny. If we can't provide a precise time and date for something that happened 40 years ago, we're called liars. If we get emotional, we're labelled crazy. If we are vocal, we're just attention seekers. It's time to focus our attention away from victims and onto those responsible for the crimes against children. In the 2006 census, Australians identified child protection as their #1 concern. Why then does our government continue to ignore the public's concern for children? Australia is a pedophile haven. Our laws are written, interpreted and administered in a way that benefits pedophiles and silences victims of crime. Our university lecturers teach pro-pedophilia material. Our health boards continue to allow offending doctors and psychologists to practice. We are up to our second Royal Commission into child abuse in 20 years. The Wood Royal Commission was indeed a failure. If it was successful, I wouldn't be standing here right now. The Wood Royal Commission was established in response to complaints about the VIP pedophile ring that abused me. This is the exact same elite pedophile ring that I reported to the current Royal Commission. In 2013, I asked the Royal Commission, what are you going to do differently to the failed Wood Royal Commission? They had no answer for me. If the Royal Commission does not result in the investigation and prosecution of the VIP pedophiles that victims like me have named, then they are just information gathering. I know you want me to stand here and name names. Yet to concentrate on the names serves to shift the focus from the entire reason I'm standing here. I have provided the names to the authorities. It is their responsibility to combine my information with what other victims had presented and properly investigate. And now I will give you some VIP names. Michelle. Michelle was a friendly 12-year-old with long dark hair. I witnessed her abduction, rape and murder when I was 6 years old. Samantha. Samantha was 9 years old with wavy long brown hair and a warm smile. She had Down syndrome. Samantha was murdered when I was 12 years old. Chloe. Chloe was an attractive 4-year-old with brown straight cut hair into a bulb and sea green eyes. Chloe was murdered when I was 14 years old. Don't make this about me. Focus on those victims who couldn't be here today to personally share what happened to them at the hands of the VIP pedophiles who have infiltrated Australia's supreme institutions.
Sydney University is where I witnessed the most heinous human sacrifice of all time, and the most difficult one to process and talk about in therapy. And that is the flaying of a boy who was about 5, little blonde boy, Anthony Kidman, and 4 other men were dressed in multicoloured robes according to the pentagram sort of symbol that I suppose captured the inner Sydney diocese that Kidman led, his coven, and so there were multicoloured robes that I've drawn. I was quite young. I tried to stop the ritual as soon as I realised what was going on and what they were about to do to this child. They crucified him and flayed his skin and pinned it back, and then they strung him up over. Once they'd done it, they did it to him alive. Once they'd finished that, they strung him up over the stage of the Great Hall. Nicole Kidman was sitting down to the front to look at, to the left as you look at the stage. I was sitting more to the back right, and I ran up and tried to stop them, and Bruce Spence put his big boot put his foot on my neck to stop me, and he just laughed at me, and everyone laughed at me, screaming and carrying on, trying to stop what they were doing. And quite a number of university staff are involved in Sydney Uni chapter, I suppose, of the order, which was run by Kidman, and Leonis Petrescus was a member of this particular coven at one stage, and he was at Sydney University around the same time as Anthony Kidman. So there's lots of prominent coven members who have gone through Sydney University. So this is a very memorable church. I remember this. I came here with Veronica. The place was packed. and I witnessed a heck of a ceremony, and Veronica was the Grand Dame, and she was my mentor, and I really liked her a lot. Red-headed lady. She had something to do with, I don't know, some sort of girls' school or something like that. And I saw her ritually sacrificed here in front of all the dignitaries. The head being up this end on that image is no accident. That's the way you face on an altar when you ritually sacrifice someone. The head's always up this end. And it's called the left-handed path, so they always use the left hand, and they start with the upper chest area and down. She was dying. I actually was so distraught I collapsed up behind this side of the altar, and everybody thought, oh, that was great, because it's a sign of affection and that we had a proper bond. I succeeded her as Grand Dame, and yeah, this is distressing. And of course, when I left, it left them with no one that they'd trained up in time. Longville, in sort of North Sydney. This is Anthony Kidman's old house. I was brought here when I was 14. I was dropped off by Leonis Petrescus. It was my birthday. And there was, well, I think it was around my birthday, I think it was. And there was a post-production party for John Bell's play. And this house was, the back room overlooking the pool was full of actors and, you know, producers, directors, you know, whatever, and theatre people. John Bell, Bruce Spence was here. I'm pretty sure Bruce Spence answered the door. I remembered the house was 2-story at the back and kind of 1-story at the front. I remembered it was Federation style. And I remembered the back room, and I remember the pool. I saw people taking what I think was cocaine in the back room near the pool in the lounge area. People were kind of in costume. There was all different, I don't know if it was a fancy dress party, I really can't remember exactly what everyone was wearing, but I know there was a lot of famous actors there. After everybody had gone home, I was left alone with John Bell and Anthony Kidman, and I remember being in the back lounge room that opens up onto the pool area, and I was assaulted in the lounge room area by Kidman and Bell, and I watched them engage in homosexual sex there. Then I was taken out into the pool, and I was thrown in the pool naked, and Kidman got in the pool as well, and he held we were at the far end of the pool in line with the back gate, and I was facing out of the pool. I was facing John Bell, who was acting like an idiot, like doing a monkey dance, and he had a mask on his face, and he was naked. And I was being held very painfully. Anthony Kidman was in the pool locking my elbows together and pulling my shoulders back. So it was like a type of jiu-jitsu type hold, you know, it would be something you learn in martial arts. And it was very painful. And while he did this, John Bell would be dancing like a monkey, and every now and then, and he'd be chanting some sort of song. And then every now and then he just stomped on my head as he said certain words in like a poem, like a rhyme. And he'd stomp on my head and hold me under, like force me under. And I nearly drowned. And Then I'd come up again, I'd be coughing, spluttering and crying and vomiting water, and then it'll happen again and again. It happened over and over, and I don't remember what happened after that, except I woke up the next day tied to a chair in what looked like a basement. It was very cold and cement-like, and I remember light filtering down through a doorway, but it was like a ladder or a very steep stairway to upstairs, and I was seated in a chair, naked, tied to a chair, and Kidman was smacking me over the head really hard. He was physically assaulting me, and he was screaming at me, "Do you remember now? Do you remember now?" And meanwhile, Nicole Kidman, his daughter, had her arms crossed, and she was leaning against a wall and sneering at me in contempt. She didn't like me at all. She never liked me. I associated with her quite a bit throughout our childhoods, and she always treated me terribly. Mrs. Kidman washed and dried my clothes, and I was dressed, and Dr. Mark came and picked me up.
I didn't know that about the clothes, Mrs. Kidman. Did you just remember that then?